Welcome. We are going to start the Power Hour. As the mayor reminds us every time, this is a chance for council to listen. As you'll notice, none of the directors, city admin is not here. So it's an opportunity for us to hear. I think we have 3 folks officially signed up and then 1 or 2 in the waiting list if we have time. So as is typical, when you come up, if you'll just say your name and your address, and then you're welcome to go into your message. Ask that you limit it to 5 minutes so that we've got time for everybody to speak. And I think first on the agenda is April Jordan, the director of the Cumbie Center. April, if you want to come on up.
Thank you very much. Y'all are all familiar to me. Yeah, so my name is April Jordan. I'm the Director of Outreach at Cumbie Center. Cumbie Center is a nonprofit agency that serves victims of domestic violence and sexual violence in 6 South Carolina counties. So we're in Aiken, Allendale, Barnwell, Edgefield, McCormick, and Saluda. And we have tons of services that we provide, both direct and indirect services to victims and their families. We have a safe house and a shelter. We have a 24/7 crisis hotline. We have lots of case management services to include legal advocacy, financial help, all sorts of things, safety planning, orders of protection, service planning, helping in transitioning out of unsafe spaces as well. We also go to the hospital 24/7, and so the hospitals that are in our 6 counties get to see our faces as well. We recognize 3 awareness months every year. February for Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, April for Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and October for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And as you know, purple is the color for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and there are many other awareness months or topics for October as well. But purple is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so we always come to you guys every year to ask permission about adorning the posts up and down Georgia Avenue with these purple awareness ribbons. And they also have our information cards attached to them. It has our phone number and just a little bit about what we do. The whole purpose of these ribbons and these information cards is to just get information out there and connect with the community and help somebody that just might see this information for the first time, or maybe it's the 10th time, or whatever it is. And so we always appreciate North Augusta's partnering with us and allowing us to do that. So your community will see the purple ribbons and the information cards for the month of October, for most of the month of October anyway. So we always love coming out here. I know I've already been here one time for this year, but you'll see me again in April a couple of times. So I always appreciate you guys partnering with us. So thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Like, I know some homeless women,
Yes, ma'am.
but the Cumbie Center would not be for just homeless. They've got to have like a violence they just on the streets.
Okay, so if they're homeless because of domestic violence or sexual
No,
violence.
she's not.
Yeah.
She's just homeless.
But we're a good resource, and we have a lot of referral information that we can give. And so we always advise that people can call us 24/7, and we can give referrals for those things.
Well, I might call you.
Yeah. So please give us a call. It might not be somebody that we can have direct services with, but we can certainly, use us as a good resource. Yeah, that's a good question, though. It's a very good question.
More places for women in Aiken or North Augusta.
So we do have some. So there's a difference between emergency housing and transitional housing.
Yeah.
All right. So we are also very familiar with some transitional housing, but there are a couple of places in Aiken actually for homeless women.
Oh, okay.
And they have different guidelines and eligibility processes that folks have to go through. But yeah, we can definitely get them hooked up with the right place and see if that might be an option for them.
Any other questions? April, thank you. Thank you for all that you guys do.
Thank you very much.
All right. I think next up, Ms. Lauren Virgo is going to come up and tell us about preserving and sharing Aiken County's history. Lauren, come on up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren Virgo, and even though I live in Aiken now, technically I grew up in North Augusta on the Meriwether side, so I'm a North Augusta girl, just recently transitioned over to Aiken. But I wanted to talk to y'all tonight. The reason I'm coming before the council and the public, hi y'all, is for an awareness campaign. We are 55 years young at the Aiken County Historical Museum, but a lot of people don't know we exist. And I know a lot of museums struggle with that. So as part of our mission this year to get out, is to go before county councils and city councils and meet with folks and kind of reintroduce ourselves to the public. We were supposed to do this back in 2020 for our 50th anniversary, but something happened in 2020 that was kind of major and shut everything down. I don't know what it was, but we're here now. Next slide. So what's our mission? Our mission, of course, is the preservation, collection, promotion, education, interpretation, and exhibition of Aiken County's history. And that's a mouthful. Please don't ask me to repeat it. That's a lot. But just because we're situated in Aiken, South Carolina, does not mean that we do not represent Aiken County, South Carolina. And when we say it surrounds, it's because Aiken County technically wasn't founded till 1871. So we're kind of a newbie in the state, even though we are the 4th largest in area, I believe. So we're big, but young. And so it's our goal to sort of represent the histories of Barnwell, Edgefield, Orangeburg, and Lexington too, which we were cut from. So next slide. Banksia is what we are located in. I like to tell people that it looks like a house museum, but we don't actually interpret the house. We're just a museum that happens to be in an absolutely gorgeous home that I'm thrilled to be able to have the key to every day, and they don't lock me out yet. But it is a home that was once owned by 4 different families at different times, but it is 17,500 square feet. And that was just for 5 people, which I'm like, dang, man. Everybody could have their own private room for everything. But within those rooms, we have living rooms and dining rooms and bathrooms transformed into exhibit spaces. So we have about 32 exhibit themes. We have interactives that we're adding to it. So we're trying to make it everything with a touchscreen now, because if you don't have touchscreens, you don't get the kids. So we're trying to put interactives in our exhibits. We have outdoor structures like a cabin from 1810 that was moved to our property, a schoolhouse from the 1890s that's been moved to our property. We have gardens that are maintained by local garden clubs, and they're gorgeous. And we get a lot of prom photos. I know everybody here loves Rosemary Hall and Look Away for prom photos. In Aiken, they come to us. So we're kind of like the big white house on the hill. We have rental spaces, and we have a gift store full of local goods. I know the Arts and Heritage Center also has wonderful local goods right downstairs, but we also have a great place to shop for. And a lot of people don't know this, and I didn't know this until I started working there, but we are a quasi-governmental, so we're actually, all the exhibits and education and preservation is funded by the Friends of the Museum, and the county maintains the building and, thankfully, my salary. So it's a partnership, public-private partnership. Next slide. We have lots of free events paid for by our friends group. So field trips, guided tours, trunk shows, Heritage Day festivals that we throw at the museum. So please come see us. They're always free.
Now, Lauren, we came, I know the mayor and I keep repeating most of these new except these two, but we came over that some kind of tour.
Oh,
About a year or so
probably.
ago, yeah.
Okay, might have been. We do all kinds of stuff. We do like Leadership Aiken tours. We do governmental municipality
I don't know
tours.
what it was, but I remember us going.
Nice. Very cool. Well, thank you. So part of our mission as a museum is to preserve Aiken County's history. So we're always looking to not only physically preserve, but digitally preserve. A lot of preservation is moving digital nowadays. So if you go on our website, you can check out thousands of artifacts that we've now put online. If you just go to aikencountymuseum.org and go under collections, you can check out all of Aiken County's history digitally. We do have an oral history program, which I've been working with Millage and some of the other folks on. And we just got, I'm so excited, we are getting an off-site storage facility for our artifacts. And it's going to be temperature controlled, humidity controlled, and it's 4,500 square feet, and we're so excited. Next slide. We love to partner with our local museums in the area. So, for instance, with the Arts and Heritage Center, just 2 floors below us, we do the Passport program. We also partner at different events and festivals around the county as well to sort of get our name out there. Next slide. I didn't know this until it popped up one day, but we got an email from USA Today saying, hey, you've been nominated for one of the top 10 small museums in the nation. I was like, we were? What? What is this about? And lo and behold, we made the top 10 list for the nation of small town museums. So I was like, hoorah. So that's something to be proud of. Next slide. Oh, and next slide. Thank you. I psyched you out with that one. This is a list of all of our major exhibit themes, so check them out. I know I'm running short on time, so I'll let y'all check those out at your leisure. Next slide. Really, I wanted to showcase what we do for North Augusta. So in North Augusta's room, we talk about the Native American tribes that were here. We talk about the towns of Campbelltown and Falmouth, a big part on Hamburg, and of course, an even bigger part on North Augusta. So what we are looking for with not only awareness, but future partnership is expanding the exhibit, getting more artifacts into our collection that represent North Augusta, getting more oral histories from the variety of North Augusta citizens, people who came here because of the bomb plant, or people who grew up here their entire lives, or people who said, hey, North Augusta is awesome, I'm moving there. You know, whatever your story is, we want to capture it and represent it at the museum. And these are just pictures of y'all's exhibit. And we've got a little sign on the right that says, want to know more about North Augusta? Go to the Arts and Heritage Center or go to the Living History Park. And then a few more pictures. But that's it. So check us out. We're open 6 days a week. We're free. Can't say much more than that. Then come see us.
Excellent.
Well, I have got a dream in North Augusta.
Yeah.
The city don't own this building. I think Brett Brandon owns it. The old, what we used to call the 507 building. I would love to see that. And please forgive me, Art and Heritage downstairs. But they moved there.
Oh.
And the top floor would be a museum.
Cool.
Now, have I talked to Mr. Brandon? No, I haven't. But maybe if he's listening, he'll hear that.
Yeah.
But I just think how wonderful to have that in our downtown North Augusta.
And that's the old Carolina Theater, right? The Mar Theater. Yeah, my dad was in a play there.
That building. I just love that building.
It's a great building.
And it just
great stories.
Yeah. So like I said, move Art and Heritage here, there, and then the top floor will be nothing, well, similar to what y'all have.
Yeah.
North Augusta. I hate to take it away from you, but put our stuff over here.
Yeah. That's what I'll say. We can share.
That's my dream now. I'm just going to dream on.
I will say I know a little bit about that Mar building, and the holdup on the Mar building is in order for it to be reoccupied, it has to have the fire retardant system put in there, which is a lot of money.
A lot.
And I think that has been preventing anybody from doing anything in there. But I do agree with you. I wasn't around in North Augusta when the theater was operable.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago. I think 50s, 60s, early 60s.
Yeah.
But
it is a centerpiece
movies
of
were
our
50
community.
cents.
Yeah. I was told there was a smoking room and a baby room. So that you could have your kid and watch the movie. Yeah, or 2 for 1,
And if I watched Gone with the Wind one time, I watched it 100.
Oh, wow.
But I know what you're saying, but hey, guess what? That could be another fundraiser.
I'm going to leave that one where that was. Thank you all so much.
Well, thanks so much. Appreciate it. All right. I believe next up is Laura Garner. Garner, if you'll come on up.
Good evening. It's kind of hard to follow all that enthusiasm and positive help with the Coombe group and all that. I'm wondering if you can contact their organizations through 211.
She's already gone.
Yeah, because 211 is a great resource for all of those nonprofits that help the women and children and all of that. So anyway, good evening, and thank you for allowing this time for citizens to speak with you. I do have a quick question. I wonder why the mayor's power hour is 30 minutes. It's just curious. I've asked people and nobody seems to know.
Yeah, I know why.
Okay.
Because we were here an hour from 5 to 6 and not a person showed up.
Oh, wow.
And so we said, let's cut that sucker to 30 minutes.
That's a
And
good,
now we do have people coming, but we usually finish in 30 minutes.
okay.
But we had it an hour, that's why it was.
I was just curious because
But no
I
one
didn't
showed
know
up.
about that.
No one
Yeah.
showed up.
And then I guess the mayor doesn't always come. Is that right?
No, he is. He's just out of town today.
Oh, okay.
He's just traveling
Oh.
this week.
Too bad. All right. Well, thanks for that. And one other quick thought is regarding the formation of the committee that's being discussed for with regards to animal shelter slash pound, whatever you want to call it. I'll probably call it the shelter because I don't know the exact politically correct definitions for the facility. But anyway, the committee, which would work on research and draft suggestions for a better animal shelter or facility, it goes without saying that there are dozens of citizens interested in this topic. And it is my belief that the talented, educated, experienced, and committed leaders here on the dais can probably pull a committee together in a few days. I hope that we're not going to push it out there for 30 to 45 days just to form a committee to start talking about it. So between having a couple of council members, a couple of citizens, some representatives from different groups, I believe that you could probably find those people within a matter of 24 hours if you really wanted to. So please, if you will, try to bring that, expedite that to a lot less so we can get started on these things as a city. As a property owner here in North Augusta, I am concerned about the former law enforcement center that has been sitting empty for months. We hear rumors of mold and asbestos, but no facts have been shared with the citizens. Just like any property owner, the city has a responsibility to maintain and preserve its buildings. I understand that the buildings have only been used for storage for the past 6 months, but my first question regarding the building is, which city department or personnel are responsible for upkeep and ongoing maintenance of these buildings?
I mean, both are public safety, so we can confirm, but my assumption will be that public safety is still responsible for maintaining them along with our public works department, but we can confirm that answer and get your
Yeah,
answer.
I mean, I think it'd be really good for all of you to know who's responsible for that. Because just like
Even though it's a public safety building,
Mhm.
it's probably like all the other buildings in North Augusta.
I mean, it's maintained through public works and participation, just like
Yeah.
Parks and Rec buildings, I'm sure, but we'll confirm and just make sure that we're providing accurate info.
Yeah, and when you find out who, please make sure it's being done and find out when it was last done. Because the last thing we want to do is have any of our properties being neglected and become uninhabitable or create more expense actually to bring it back to life again. Citizens have been asking for a proper animal shelter, and being centrally located, the former law enforcement facility would be a perfect, cost-effective solution. This would be the most practical and logical start to a good long-term solution, not putting a square peg in a round hole. Who has not seen the dozens of seemingly uninhabitable properties revitalized and resold all over town, repurposed? Think about the why. I mean, what was there before? Was it like a grocery store? Was it Winn-Dixie? I mean, I've been here forever, but I think different things have been through that pool building. And then they converted into, the Y. And it's done very well for quite some time. Now they're going to revitalize Big Lots, I believe, and turn that department store into the Y. So you have, it makes all kinds of sense for not only the taxpayers, but also for our environment to repurpose these empty buildings. So revitalization and reuse of older properties have nothing to do with the square pegs or round holes, but it's good stewardship, not only of taxpayer dollars, but also our environment. I've also heard conversations regarding the creation of pickleball courts on that property. Based on the number of tennis courts, I'd just like to suggest we already have in North Augusta so many tennis courts, and pickleball is great, including the courts at the old country club, which I know are probably also in disrepair. We could have just as many pickleball courts by simply adding pickleball boundaries on the tennis courts that we have. Lots of neighborhoods do that. It's been done all over the CSRA for years, and it makes these courts multifunctional. So you don't have to go out and build new courts. You can use your tennis courts that you already have established and make them convertible, so to speak, multifunctional. And that would be another win for taxpayer dollars and our environment. So before any decision is made to demolish the former law enforcement center, we are asking for transparency. What is the true condition of the building? What maintenance has been done? And what plans does the city have for its future use? North Augusta is growing rapidly, as we all know, and our citizens deserve answers and accountability. So, quick summary. The former law enforcement center has been empty for months. Rumors of the mold and asbestos are circulating, but no facts have been shared with citizens. Lessons should be learned and remembered from the old Blythe property. Negligence should not be part of our protocol in managing a city. Instead of letting the city-owned building fall into disrepair or face demolition, why not use it for a much-needed animal shelter? Already built, thereby expediting the actualization of a refit shelter. Central location, plenty of space, much lower cost than starting from scratch. So we need to know, what is the condition of the building? What's being done for upkeep? And what are the city's real plans? We're growing fast, and we need to be good stewards of both taxpayer dollars and our environment. So please, let's move forward with the committee. Let's get it on the books within a week or so. And then we can start making decisions and finding out information of how we can move forward with these goals and projects and not just keep beating a dead horse, so to speak. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, Kevin, I'm sorry. You do know there's homeowners across like me and Dennis. And I mean, I could not imagine dogs barking all night or during the day for those homeowners. Now, that's just my statement right now.
I can tell you can stand outside the pound right now and hardly hear the dogs barking on the inside. It's certainly not going to be as loud as police sirens and fire trucks coming and going all day long.
Yeah, I'd like to reclaim my time, and I should have been respectful enough just to ask you if you had any questions, but you know, that issue pops up as well. But you know, think about what was there prior. I mean, we had fire trucks, police cars coming in and out 24/7. Same thing up here on Martintown Road. Do those folks have a choice around their houses when we put the new fire station and all that? I mean, dogs are something else, you know, and they're going to be inside.
We have one more speaker that we are
Got it.
not
I'm
going to have
done.
time. So, yeah.
I remember. I just wish I had addressed that because I know that keeps popping up.
But yeah, appreciate it. Mr. Husky, I think that you ought to have just enough time to finish up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My name is Theron Husky. I live at 714 West Woodlawn Avenue, and I've been there for 50 years in that house. And I wanted to make some comments about the homeowners in that area because I had a 15-minute talk, but it was cut to 5. So I'm going to start at the end and work backwards. I'm going to go to the conclusion, and the conclusions are that the homeowners along Woodlawn Avenue cannot manage the drain between Woodlawn and San Salvador. The city has maintained it for well over 50 years, and I've been in my house for 53 years. So it's we have since Helene, we have several issues. Number one, we have a flood and a water flow issue. Number two, we have an environmental issue because some trees are uprooted and there's a big root ball with and you know it has to be handled by somebody other than the homeowner, environmentally correct. You know, there's one tree there now that's been there a year that has about a 12-foot root ball, and the tree goes across the creek, and when it fell, about 30 feet of it was on my yard. So my son and I got our chainsaws, and we sawed it up to fireplace lengths, and we put it out on the road, and it was gone in a week's time. So that's just the second issue. The third issue is not having proper maintenance of that creek that runs between Woodlawn and San Salvador is a home value issue. If you're buying a house and you look at that creek and you see a sewage line that flies over that creek, the homeowner, the prospective homeowner is going to ask, who maintains that? Well, the city and I, that's what I'd like to say, is the city and I maintain that. But the biggest issue overall is precedent, the word precedent. The city has maintained that stretch of drain from Woodlawn to San Salvador for 53 years. Since Helene, they don't show up. They showed up at the beginning of Woodlawn from Lake Avenue. The first damage on the left was handled by the state. The second damage, about a quarter of a mile down at the hill where the Almonds live, the city handled that. And they refurbished the drain, got the trees out of the way. They're still not all hauled away, but at least they freed up the drain. So the third one is the next hill that goes down Woodlawn. And before you get to Stanton Drive is my house. And there are 4 houses that are on that stretch, and there are 2 other houses that are affected by the flow and the sometimes flooding of that. And the city has handled that for 53 years. But since Helene, they haven't shown up. They did come and clean the open drain that comes from Stanton down to Woodlawn and goes under Woodlawn. And then it goes down my property for 210 feet, and then it goes another 200 feet to San Salvador. And it goes under San Salvador. There's one pipe that goes under San Salvador. There's a big creek that goes by my house and goes by the 2 houses behind me that face San Salvador. And my house and my neighbors across the street face Woodlawn. So there are 4 houses that are closely offended by that creek. And then there are 2 other houses. One is across San Salvador where the English family lived, and they have had debris and mud because that pipe has a manhole cover, and the manhole cover probably weighs 50 pounds. And I have seen it blown out by the force of water rising in there, taking the top off, and then the water flows over into the road at San Salvador and into the English front yard. And it leaves a lot of mud and debris. So those are the 4 issues: the flood, the environmental issues, the home values, but the main one to me is the precedent. The city maintained it for 53 years until Helene, and they have not shown up at that creek that goes from Woodlawn to San Salvador. The city hadn't done a thing. I personally have spent over 100 hours and over $3,000 just beefing up my side. And my side is 210 feet long. And the rest of the people haven't done anything because they think the city is going to come and do it. And the city is not. And I would like to know why. And I would like to know if the city will take it back and do it like they did previously for 53 years. I call it the Helena hump. You know, we're over the hump, but we need to get the Helena out of the conversation now. I hope. I mean, I don't know that we've ever had anything like Helena. We've had an ice storm, and we've had some other weather issues, but we haven't had anything like Helene. And I would just like to get over and get by the Helene hump and get the city to maintain the drain between Woodlawn and San Salvador again, just like they did for 53 years.
Mr.
Do you have
Husky?
any questions?
Well, we got a minute.
I was gonna say, can we get your address so we can look into it?
Pardon?
Jamie
You
has.
got it?
Yep.
I just want to say that, make sure that Jamie gets your address so we can look into it.
Yeah, Jamie has. We'll get it with city administration, pass that along, and then have someone respond to you, Mr. Husky. But I don't have answers for you on that this evening, but we can certainly, we'll have it checked into and have someone respond to you and take a look at it.
Now, you know, I've talked to everybody in the city maintenance. I've talked to the previous mayors. I've known every mayor from Tom Green to Britain. And I've spoken to the people who had the job for streets and drains, that went to Edgefield County. And I can't think of his name right now, but
David Caudell. Yeah.
What's the name?
David Caudell.
David Caudell. Yeah, David. David has always, when he was at the job, it was always maintained. One day, I saw a little fight out in front of the house with 3 little 12-year-old boys, and one of them went down. The other 2 grabbed the boy by the ankles. One grabbed him by the wrist, and they swung him over that drop. And it's 12 feet down to the bottom of that.
Mr. Husky, I hear you. We are a minute past due for starting the city council meeting, so we've got you. We will check into it and pass it along and have someone take a look at it and respond to you.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you very much.
All right. We will call to order the October 6th session of North Augusta City Council. With that, you are welcome to join me in prayer. Heavenly Father God, thank you for this day. Thank you for this time to hear the concerns of the citizens, Lord, to deliberate and discuss issues that affect the city. I pray that you would give us wisdom, that you would give us guidance, Lord, and that we would all make decisions and do things that honor you. We pray these in your name. Amen. And if you will, stand for me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Next, then, we will start our roll call, and we'll start from my left.
John Fulak.
Robert Freitas.
Pat Carpenter.
Kevin Toole.
David Buck.
Dennis Briodica.
All right, next item then is approval of minutes. Are there any corrections, deletions, or additions to the minutes that were presented? And this would be the regular City Council meeting minutes of September 15th, 2025, the joint meeting of City Council and Planning Commission minutes of September 22nd, 2025, and the study session minutes of September 29th, 2025. Hearing none, they stand as approved. All right, so the next thing we have on the agenda is the reading of a proclamation, and I'm assuming...
I think we have some representation up in the back corner. Will y'all please stand up and give your names? And I will walk the proclamation up to them.
Okay, you want to do that? Yeah, that's fine. I'll read it then, and Dennis, I can walk it up to him. I got it, so I'll take care of it. Yeah, I'll just come out front and read it, and we'll go from there. Thank you both for... Thanks. When y'all forgive me, I don't do this often, so I'm stumbling around here, but we'll get through it. Appreciate you all being here, and I'm going to read the proclamation, and then I'll bring it up to you. But we very much appreciate you being here and representing this great cause. So, proclamation. Whereas White Cane Day was first established on October 15, 1964 by President Lyndon Johnson and has since become an annual day of observance to raise awareness about the blind community and their invaluable contribution to our nation. And whereas the white cane is a vital tool and symbol of independence for individuals who are blind or have low vision, enabling them to navigate freely and safely and fully participate in and contribute to our society. And whereas it is essential for all citizens to be aware that the law requires motorists and cyclists to exercise caution when approaching a blind person carrying a white cane. And whereas the City of North Augusta commends state and local agencies, nonprofit organizations, businesses, and individuals who work tirelessly to promote awareness and inclusion for people with disabilities. And whereas every North Augusta citizen can play a role in creating a more accessible and inclusive society by becoming an ally, advocate, and supporter of individuals with disabilities, promoting equal opportunities, and ensuring their voices are heard in decision-making processes. Now, therefore, I, Kevin Toole, on behalf of Britton S. Williams, Mayor of the great city of North Augusta, do hereby officially proclaim and acknowledge October 15th, 2025 as White Cane Day. So again, thank you for being here. Give them a round of applause, please. All right. With that, we will then move on to old business. And first item under old business is with planning and development, which is ordinance number 2025-16 to amend the zoning map of the city of North Augusta, South Carolina by rezoning 0.40 plus or minus 0.40 acres of land owned by HF Developers LLC, tax parcel number 007-13-01-014 from PD Plan Development to DTMU2, which would be Downtown Mixed Use 2, and this will be the second reading. Do I have a motion? Second?
I'll second.
All right, motion by Ms. Carpenter, second by Mr. Freitas. Mr. Clifford, anything you want to share on this one?
Just as a reminder for council and our citizens watching this evening, that this is an action to rezone a portion that would allow for us to add some additional parking spaces right next to Parcel K, which is the apartment building. This is a concept that was approved by City Council with the updated master parking agreement, and this is the planning action that is required to do this. I had previously briefed and shown a picture on the for the council dais of what that would look like. That has no other plans for that real estate other than just for those 4 parking spots to allow us to maximize parking for Parcel K.
Thank you, Mr. Clifford. Any citizen comments? All right, any council discussion? All right, hearing none, I will ask for a vote. All those in favor? Opposed? All right, that is, what's 6-1? 5-1, thank you. I can't count this evening apparently either. It doesn't bode well for us. All right, then we will move on to the next item, which is under new business, and that is also planning and development, ordinance number 2025-17, amending Article 9, signs, in Appendix A, definitions related to halo illumination of the North Augusta Development Code, Chapter 18 of the City of North Augusta, South Carolina Code of Ordinances. This will be the first reading. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? All right, I think she's got it. Carpenter and Buck and Carpenter, I guess. All right. Mr. Clifford, anything you want to share on this one?
Just as a reminder for the council from our study session discussion, this came through the Planning Commission as a request through our staff. And so we had shown some pictures before, and just to reiterate, halo lighting indicates lighting where the neon tube is visible to the naked eye. You can see the aspects of that lighting directly. The halo lighting is essentially backlighting. So whether it's halon or LED or some kind of neon fixture, that the bulb itself is obscured by the front of the signage and is not visible to the eye. And that's really the big difference between the neon lighting and the halo lighting. And this is specific to downtown mixed use zones 1 and 2, not for the city at large.
All right. Any citizen comments? Council discussion? All right. Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That one's unanimous. Next ordinance will be planning and development as well. Ordinance number 2025-18, amending table 5.1, use table related to self-storage mini warehouses of the North Augusta Development Code, Article 5 of Chapter 18 of the City of North Augusta, South Carolina Code of Ordinances. This will be first reading. Mr. Clifford, what do you have to share on that one?
So for this item, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, we have a requirement by the state of South Carolina to be in compliance with their business license fees. The Municipal Association of South Carolina sent out did I miss one? Sorry.
Yes.
Oh, I went right past that one. All right, my bad. Let's talk about self-storage then. Sure, self-storage and mini warehouses. So there are, as I had been asked by a previous council member or a council member for today, there are 2 self-storage projects that are in the works that would be unaffected by this particular ordinance. So there's one that's going into the old Kmart there by Route 1, and there's one that would go behind the QT at exit 5. But what this ordinance would do would restrict the usages of mini storage warehouses in the future to just the industrial zone. So right now, those are allowable in general commercial, thoroughfare commercial, other kinds of zones. And again, this came at the request of the Planning Commission to have the staff take a look at the ability to do this because they've been concerned about the number of self-storage lots that are here inside the city limits. So this would not affect the 2 that are in the pipeline, but it would affect future self-storage businesses coming into the city.
Thank you, Mr.
This would also not affect any future Cracker Barrels.
Thanks for the clarification. All right. Any citizen comments?
Mr. Toole, you're going to need a motion first in a second.
See, that's why I told you to keep me straight. I'm sorry. I completely skipped over that one, didn't I? Yeah, do I have a motion to approve? Or motion to read the minutes?
I'll make it. Yeah.
Second.
Second. Thanks, Jamie. All right, got a motion and a second. Now, are there any citizen comments? All right, hearing none, any council discussion? All right, all those in favor? That is unanimous. Let's see if we can get this one right. Next one will be ordinance with finance, ordinance number 2025-19, amending the business license ordinance of the City of North Augusta to update the class schedule as required by Act 176 of 2020. This will be the first reading. Do I have a motion? Ms. Carpenter, second?
I got it.
Yep. All right, Ms. Baratico. All right.
I'll try to get it.
You're on this one. Yeah, you got a head start.
This is the business license ordinance, which is required by the state of South Carolina. So the Municipal Association of South Carolina publishes a template and basically says, if you follow this language for your city's ordinance, you will be in compliance with the state of South Carolina's business license tax requirements. And that's important for us because that's like 40% of our general fund revenue is through business license tax. So we definitely want to be in compliance with the state of South Carolina. This is an action for all the new council members. You should expect to see this every year. As we get into around budget season, that you'd have this to go into the next calendar year to meet the business license tax requirements as set forth in statute.
Thank you, Mr. Clifford. Any citizen comments? Council discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? And that is also unanimous. All right, moving on to item 10. Engineering and Public Works. This is ordinance number 2025-20, granting an easement to Dominion Energy South Carolina, Inc. for replacement of facilities. This also will be first reading. Mr. Clifford, what do you have to share? I need a motion. All right.
I'll second.
All right, got a motion in a second. Now, Mr. Clifford.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and council members and for citizens, this would allow an easement for Dominion Energy to cross some city property and to be allowed to put an underground utility line, specifically gas. They have a large project that they're looking to push a larger capacity natural gas underneath Interstate 20, so it would actually bore south to north. And this piece of city property, to reorient to the council, if you were at exit 5 and you start off from where the self-storage lot is, and then the standalone emergency department, and then the True Hotel. There's an empty commercial lot next to there. I think it's owned by Maybom. And then the lot after that is a city-owned piece of property. And that's where this easement would be allowed for Dominion to be able to do underground work. We allow them to have a temporary laydown yard to be able to put some of the equipment there in a limited way in the short-term duration. But long-term, this would have the ability to have a path for their utility line to go underneath city property. And that's what we're asking you to consider for today.
Ms. Clifford, any citizen comments? Council discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? That is unanimous. All right, moving on to item 11, public safety. This is a resolution number 2025-33, authorizing the disbursement of opioid settlement funds to the Aiken Center for the establishment of a new peer support specialist and a licensed addiction counselor dedicated for North Augusta, and authorizing the city to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Aiken County Commission on Alcohol and Drug Abuse regarding South Carolina opioid settlement funding. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, we'll give that one to Buck and Briatico. All right, what do you have to share on this one, Mr. Clifford?
So for the public, I know all the council members were in attendance for last week that heard Chief talk about the opioid funds and how they'd be used. This is a partnership we have with the Aiken Center with Margaret Key and her team. And as the Aiken, the opioid settlement money is restricted in use. It can only be used for very set purposes. And these uses are within those set purposes. For the first round of opioid money we had, Chief was able to use a fair amount of that for some of the CAT team functions, and that included some of the branding required for community engagement and for education. But for this particular round of funding, we're going to be able to invest with the Aiken Center for personnel to be able to assist public safety and for the public at large. And so our recommendation is that you would fund this aspect out of the opioid resolution or opioid settlement funds, which again is not coming out of general fund taxpayer or any of our specialty funds. This is out of the settlement fund through the state of South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Clifford. Any citizen comments? Council discussion?
Other than I'm so happy this is taking place in our city.
It really is a positive move for sure. Anything else? All right. All those in favor? All right. That also passes unanimously. All right. With that, then we'll move on to administrative reports. Mr. Clifford.
So no slides this evening, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, but I would tell you that we're on track for on-time billing again this week, and also for later in the cycle. We have a conference call set up with our software provider here within the next week to close out the substantial completion of this project, and then we'll be moving on to implementing other software items for other parts of the staff, namely our planning department and public works as far as permits. So excited to see where that's going to take us. So I don't anticipate we'll have too many more updates. I will owe the council an update on our plan to reinstitute late fees and shutoffs, but I'm not prepared to do so this evening, and I would not anticipate seeing anything as far as shutoffs before Christmas. I would certainly say that you could expect to tell your constituents that they'll start getting reminders here in the near future, whether it's telephonic or mail or email, that they may be behind on some of their payments and need to work on getting caught up.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Clifford. Any questions on that?
Yeah, when you said we move on to different departments with some, we're not using the same company we use with this water bill.
We actually are, Councilman. So
Okay.
we had great feedback from Charleston and also the county associated with the Greater Charleston area that uses GovSense for their planning department to walk, not bills, but for various plans through and to have some visibility for the developers and the construction agents to see where their products are in the pipeline. We have very good feedback from a number of municipalities and counties about this, and considering that our current system is essentially a hand system that has limited tracking from a digital perspective, whatever we do will be an improvement from what we're doing today. So even worst case scenario, because we're in an analog system, pen and paper, if it doesn't go well, then we can always go back to that. But I have a high degree of confidence that this is going to work out will help us move forward.
But would it be something we could try for 2 or 3 months and we see that doesn't help before we go invest everything?
Councilman, I would tell you that, first of all, the impact of this will be less than on the general population because obviously utility billing affects everybody, or everybody that pays a water bill. But this is for a much more limited scope of folks. So we'll certainly sandbox it, as they say in the IT world, to test it out before we make it go live. But obviously, based on our past performance, we're going to want to make sure this thing is well tested before we go to the live network.
Because the water situation was horrible.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Clifford. All right, then with that, we'll move on to citizen comments. So at this time, citizens may speak to mayor and city council regarding matters that were not listed on the agenda. As is typical, if speakers would give their name and address for the records, speaker forms are provided on the credenza outside for speakers who want the minutes to indicate that they address council. And that form will be included with the minutes. So just as a reminder, citizen comments are limited to 5 minutes. Anybody want to speak? All right, Tyler, come on down.
Hello, everybody. Thank you again. I did kind of purposely come at the end of the meeting. I wanted to kind of comment on some of the comments at last meeting I wasn't attending, and I get to talk about the mayor, and he's not here. So, but specifically, I'm glad Mr. Clifford and Chief Johnson here. I definitely want to thank Mr. Clifford for putting together a study session. I thought it was very informative, a good summary. But a few comments based on the mayor's comments last meeting. He gave me some homework. I haven't received any formal communication with regards to the renovations, but I do want to say I'm not a contractor. The request was for us to come up with a list of 3 renovations for the current pound, but I will need help. I'm not a contractor. We can definitely come up with 3 general ideas, but we'll need assistance with the research and scope of these costs, getting the bids, identifying contractors. That's not something I'm knowledgeable to do. So I definitely, we've presented lists in the past, and that was kind of the holdup, is just, I'm sure the city engineering department, there's resources available to the city that I just don't personally have, and it's just not my skills and knowledge to proceed in.
Tyler, I think Mr. Clifford had something he wanted to.
So pursuant to the mayor's guidance, your assignment, I believe, is to meet with public safety leadership to agree first on the 3 projects or improvements on the animal shelter that you all can come to terms on. And once that is agreed to, then it's the city's responsibility to do the research and the actions on how that's going to proceed from there.
Okay, perfect. I mean, that's just been kind of a barrier in the past, so that sounds like a good plan to me. And then kind of building off Laura's request earlier, I do want to formally kind of request that the old public safety building be up for consideration. That was kind of mentioned in the study session. I don't think current use of storage should take it off the list as possible sites. And to kind of build off Pat's and Dennis's comments, I mean, I'm at the pound all the time. It's just like your dog's at home. It's just like the dogs bark when people come there. 90% of the time it's quiet. I've seen the Facebook comments about that being an issue. It's like, it's pretty quiet till you get there, and then they kind of hoot and holler, and then 5 minutes later it's pretty quiet again. So I don't think that should be a major issue. But it's just an ideal location. It's near the dog park, it's near the greenway. And one vision I'm trying to kind of reiterate is I really see the future shelter as more of a Parks and Rec type facility, trying to get the council and leadership to embrace, like, it really can be a center for community engagement. I mean, we're bringing volunteers from all over. Volunteers are already taking dogs out to walk them. If you went to our concert, I mean, we have folks engaged. You saw our list of sponsors. We have lots of small business partnerships. It really can be a place for meeting. Dawn tried to present the other week, kind of got cut off, and she plans on speaking later. But she was kind of speaking on how Charleston used their shelter for birthday parties and all kinds of events. So when these are done right, it really does become a center for community engagement and more of a quote unquote Parks and Rec type facility. So the visibility, the central location for families and volunteers to engage with. So I'm really in support of any plans where it's located within city limits, and I also just think that's kind of an ideal location. And another comment, good off Laura's, just getting this working coalition started ASAP. And then the first order of business kind of being, another thing mentioned during the study session was state funding. Getting the working, and I know Tabitha, she's here, she put that proposal together, sent it to council well over a month ago. My understanding is the state kind of looks at these types of funding first of next year, so they really need to have some sort of formal request December. So I want to get this committee going. We got to plan these things out. We're all ready to rally community support, do our part, but there's bits and pieces we need the city to partner on. And I think getting the committee going, the first order is kind of looking at, public safety is probably maybe a part of that puzzle, but kind of brainstorm and actually come up with a plan that we can rally around. Because, I mean, we missed, as mentioned in the study session, we missed the SPOS funds, we missed American Recovery Act funds. I don't want to miss this other possible source of funding, which is state funding, and that we, the city really needs to take the lead in that communication. And I think the first part is getting this committee going, and like Laura said, I mean, that's something I asked for months ago. I just really want to get going on that. And for my last comment, just with the new position, I'm really, really excited with that. I thought that would have been like an uphill battle. I know staffing costs are huge, and the last request is to look into ways to start that sooner. I mean, that's needed now. Our volunteers are filling gaps in services today and all year round. I mean, we're all spread thin, we're all stressed out. It's hard for us to fill the gaps of what a full-time position could do. So we're kind of formally requesting try to find ways to move that up to January 1st. And FODA's willing to partner with that. So I know when we did the city consultant back in 2019, there was some funding that came from the city, some came from the community. If there's a way to partner in covering some of those costs, because I know that's tough. I know staff, that was a huge reason it's taken so long to request it. I'm sure that's why it's only covered for half the year, but if there's a way for us to partner on that, then we'd like to. But that's all. I can stay up here for
Tyler,
questions.
one thing you're talking about putting it possibly under Park and Recreation, but I think the way I understood the mayor, this foundation will be through the police foundation.
Well, that's where the committee will start. I mean, I think it's to be determined what the long-term plan.
Yeah, but that's what I said, it would be under that foundation.
The committee would be under the Public Safety Foundation. I think where this ultimately lands is part of what we have to decide as a council. What the ultimate long-term solution, who owns it, all of that other stuff would be something that has to come subsequent.
But Tyler is going to meet with, I presume, Chief Johnson and maybe Captain Hayes to talk about where or what, right? So then they would bring that back to this committee.
Well,
right?
what the feedback from the mayor, if I understood it, and Mr. Clifford, correct me if I'm wrong, or any of the rest of you that heard it differently, is that this would be improvements to the current facility. If they were within Mr. Clifford's ability to pay out of what he's authorized to pay, he can go ahead and he's got the ability to go ahead and do those. If they were above that, it would come to the council to figure out the funding mechanism for them. So it just depends on what those improvements are and how much they're going to cost.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So we're kind of talking about short-term Band-Aids and long-term vision all at the same time. So I think it is kind of confusing. That's why we need the working committee to kind of parse it out and have someone from city there. It's just the other week, there was Linda, Tabitha, a few of us it was like, what's missing at this table? It's like, there's no one from the city here to kind of tell us what resources are available. Like, we have a growing community sort, and I failed to mention that our Rock for Rescue did earn, we're still kind of counting our nickels and dimes, but it was about $17,000 total. And that was put together in August, and we had it in October. So, I mean, that's the biggest fundraiser to date, and it was put together in a matter of months. So I feel like there's a growing community sort where once we get a plan, then we can kind of rally and do our part as a community too.
Excellent. Tyler, thank you. And Chief, Dennis, Chief, if you will, just prioritize setting up those meetings and everything for us so we can get that part started if that hasn't already happened.
And Tyler, also kind of what we got to look at is Kona has also raised some funds and is probably willing to pay for some projects to happen at the shelter outright themselves,
Sure.
but also could use assistance with estimates.
Well, I think that's our part. Yeah. To Jim's statement, that's what we'll do is once we know what they are, we'll figure out how to pay for it, what's required, and who's involved.
And I want to take a minute, Chief Johnson, I like to give flowers when it's time to give flowers. Thank you for Captain Hayes, man. Captain Hayes is a kind, fair man, and I hope he can be part of the committee to decide what this looks like in the future.
Yes, sir. And I'll reiterate that. I wish we would have kind of realized how great he is. Like, I had limited communication until like July, but now we talk every other week or so. But he's been really on top of things, so definitely kudos to Captain Hayes. We really appreciate his help.
Thank you. I mean, again, we will get back and have those conversations, but we do have positive momentum, and our task right now is to keep that momentum going forward, and we will.
All right. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you. All right. Anyone else? All right. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Ellie Mackey. I live at 1970 Bunting Drive, North Augusta. That's in Lyndhurst. And I have two items I would like to bring to you. One is on Bunting Drive, traffic coming down that street is too fast. So I don't know whether there's something that can be done about that. Sometimes I think they're using it for a racetrack. The other problem that I have, Bunting, Mackey's, I'm a Mackey. So from my understanding, after you pass the sidewalk, that belongs to the city. The property next to my house belongs to me, but past the sidewalk belongs to the city. Am I not correct?
I believe that is correct. That's where the right-of-way would be.
Right. So one of the problems that I have that's coming into my driveway, when we get a rain, when it rains heavily, then it is washing like a hole right there next to my driveway. And so it's been going on for a while, but the longer this is to leave it like that, it's going to get worse. It is getting worse.
Ms. Mackey, and if you didn't already share, can we get your address just so that you've got it already? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay. So I was just wondering whether there's something that could be done before it get to a problem, before I won't be able to drive into my driveway.
We can certainly have, Jamie will get it with our Public Works Department to come take a look at it.
Okay, but those are the two things that I wanted the city to look at.
We will certainly pass that along to the appropriate people and make sure that it's taken a look at, and then Jamie will have someone get back to you about it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Miss Mackey, thank you for coming in and representing Lyndhurst. I live around the corner on Marion Avenue, and I will say that people go up Bunting and they speed on around
And they
Marion
always
Avenue
have.
as fast as they can
Always
go.
have. All right. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Come on.
My name is Sharon Melton, 14 Brookview Court, North Augusta. And I have two things. The first one is, they're both questions. I sent a video to the city about a couple of months ago, and it was concerning the drainage from Renfield and the runoff from Renfield into Pretty Run Creek. And the answer that I got back was because it rained. Well, we've been there for about 35 years, so I know what runoff is. I know what rain is. I know
what the creek's supposed to look like when we just have an inch or two, even more so than, within a 30 day period. But the runoff is absolutely unacceptable. It's taking runoff from the Renfield, I think that y'all all visited not too long ago in the trolley, or we're speaking about. And the color of the creek turns into orange because it's clay. I've been up there. I mean, it's beautiful with the slopes of the road, but that's where the beauty ends as far as I'm personally concerned, and as far as my husband's personally concerned. And it's taking the sides of the creek, making it wider, and it's also taking the sandstone and the rock and moving it elsewhere. So other than the fact that it's raining, which, I am competent enough to understand the rain and what rain does to a creek, but I want a more serious answer, please, and I want some type of action taken. I know it's too late to stop the subdivision, which a friend of mine owned, and that's her prerogative to sell it. It's the prerogative of the people that purchase it to do what the city allows them to do, but it is not their prerogative to ruin Pretty Run Creek, which I have brought to this council's attention many times as a very good water source for North Augusta. Runs all through North Augusta, and it needs attention. And the second thing is, we have a a house that has black mold. Well, we own the lot that's next to our home, and then we have a house that's on 18 Brookview Court that has black mold in it, and it was a crack house. And the lady that lived there, I won't say her name, her husband passed away. She moved out, and she had done a reverse mortgage, and then she refused to pay the payments on the reverse mortgage. So the house has just gotten worse and worse and worse. The city did pay, as far as I was told, Dennis Lawn Care to come and take care of the property. And now, since we've had more wind storms, there's more trees that have fallen across into the backyard and into the front yard. The black mold is still there. There's a dentist that lives on the other side of the home that has 3 children. There's 5 in the house next to it. There's 6 on the other side of us. And the kids ride their bikes around the cul-de-sac there. And with the black mold, and I don't know what else is in there, it is a safety concern, environmental concern, and it also affects the property values on that road. And we're wanting to move pretty soon. So I need something done for that house. It's been at least a 2-year ordeal, and nothing's happened. I even went down there and spoke and said to Mark, my husband, about with Dennis Lawn Care, and asked them to ask the city if they would allow him to pull the trees that are in the middle of Pretty Run Creek, which I've also talked to Britton Mayor Williams about, that's also detriment to the normal flow of the creek, out of the middle of the creek. And then we go back and forth, who owns the creek, who owns the easement to the creek. It needs to be taken care of from a city environmental concern as well as a homeowner's environmental concern, and it's just getting worse and worse as those trees are decaying. So I'm asking your assistance on both of those issues, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Now, David.
Now, will somebody get back with me on those
hold
two
on,
things?
Sherry. David Buck and I went to that creek, the Pretty Run. Remember the man? And I think you went and took pictures, and what was told that some of that was owned by a property owner.
Correct.
Wasn't that correct?
And that's not true. And Attorney Zier may have to get involved. The plat says that the homeowner does not own up to the creek nor in the middle of the creek. It's just like a river. You don't own the river. You don't, as a city or state or whatever, you split the river down the middle. But the creek, when we purchased our home, there was an easement that we did not on the creek, because that only makes good sense, because you don't want to buffer or build a bridge in the creek and impede the water flow. So, I mean, the state has those regulations, but something needs to be done. And let me just say something for one of my neighbors, that they've got lots of kids and they can't play in their backyard, and I think that's a crying shame. The trees in the back of that house are like pickup sticks, and there's no way that you could come to the Rapid subdivision, stop at that main stop sign, take a right, and not see them. And some of those trees actually touch the culvert, the big culvert that goes under the water that takes the flow of the water on down to the to Savannah River. So, I mean, I don't see why the city hasn't already come out and it been an issue for the creek and the water flow and the water system, the water basin, everything that we pay for on a monthly basis, but more importantly, on a citywide basis. I don't understand that, but no, I mean, the plats don't show that.
I'm happy to take a shot at this one, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. So really two things. One, right now we currently have Tom Zeser scheduled to give an update during a study session, I believe next week, on the NRSC grant, some of which is going to address some of the concerns presented here tonight, specifically about Pretty Run Creek. It's a $900,000 some odd grant. Ms. Melton's concerns were not the number one priority within that grant. The issue had to do more with the erosion at the formerly known as Willowwick Apartments. And so that's where that grant has started. My understanding is some of the areas that are down by the rapids are included in the grant. But again, that's a federal grant, and that runs at the speed at which the federal government moves through and obligates money for those grants. So you as the council will get a holistic view from Tom Zeser directly about what that grant is going to cover and which waterways it's there. And also we have a second grant application that's going to go into the NRSC as well for some additional woods that have gone into some of the waterways, but those more have to do with city properties. I believe the first grant, which has already been approved, gets after some, not all, of what has been allocated here this evening within Pretty Run Creek. And as far as from a code enforcement perspective, as far as one of the houses, I am tracking that. Dennis Lawn Care has been out to that residence and has addressed it, but that is not a recurring event. Normally what happens in code enforcement is we get a constituent that says, hey, there's a eyesore neighbor. The code enforcement takes a look at it, then they give a written warning, then they get a second written warning, and then get an order to do removal. And if that's not abided by, then the city goes out to a contract for a cleanup, and that's exactly what happened here with Dennis Lawn Care. But we as a city don't have any tools or ordinances that allow us to do cleanups on a lot on a residual basis, almost like a yard care service, to do that. So if there's a new request, then certainly we can have code enforcement go back and take a look at it again. And then I'd also have to go back and refresh on the codes themselves. I don't believe there's anything in the code that prevents somebody from having a downed tree in their backyard. I think the issue has more to do with the appearance on the front yard of what the code enforcement can remediate, not necessarily the backyard, unless it has junk holder, those kinds of things. So I'd have to go back and refresh on the items. But bottom line is, the constituent can certainly get back in touch with code enforcement and say, hey, there's, understand that the, Dennis Lawn Care has been out at the site. However, since that point in time, there's new and exciting problems on the property, and they can go ahead and do that. And we do that because property owners still have rights, and we don't necessarily want the city stepping in on every property, almost like a homeowners association, because that's not the role of the city.
Let me just clarify something. Number one, Mayor Williams did call me, but he said that if the grant money was already used and all of that was used up, then there was no more money, which I don't think that's fair, because it's all the grant money is being used at one place and it's not being used at other places where it needs to be used. Number two, it's not just a tree that's down. There's trees plural, and they're in the creek. They're impeding the water, as I said earlier. It's not. It's more of an eyesore. It's black mold. It's environmental, and there's other things in the home. The city's been made aware of it for about 2 years now, and something needs to be done. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Anyone else? All right. With that, then we will move on to any final comments. We'll start down with John, if you got anything.
No, two things. This Brenda Bancroft sitting up there, raise your hand. Brenda she hadn't done here lately, but years ago she came to every meeting, didn't you, Brenda? So I'm so glad to see you sitting up there tonight. And then my little granddaughter, Annie Grace, who's 6 years old, she said, Mima, are you going to one of those cancer meetings tonight? I said, I sure am. What's wrong? She said, will you bring this up? That we were at the playground at Riverview Park, and there's a book, little box, you know. She said, all of the books are very scary. And would you mind asking the city to put some more books? I said, well, now the city don't do that, Annie. It's citizens. So I promised her we're going to pick out some books from hers and put in there. But she wanted me to be sure that got said tonight at this meeting.
It's heard. Notes taken. Jamie's got it. It's in the minutes. It's official. David? Yes.
Again, thank you for Captain Hayes, but just want to remind everybody, fortune favors the bold. When it comes to the shelter, just don't think about it as let's make it a serviceable place. Let's make it a destination. That's all I got.
All right. Thank you, Dennis. All right. With that, then, we stand adjourned.